If you ask people what they're doing for the holidays, most families have all these kind of traditions. You know, they go sledding or ice skating, or they have dinner at a Chinese restaurant in honor of a Christmas Story. My family's a little different. You see, so much has changed within my family since I was little that what people call family gatherings have never really been the same. I was looking through some old pictures and I realized places, the situations, even the people changed every year, but one thing was always the same: music. It's the one thing that can bring families together, can change a mood in an instant, can make you feel safe and warm, even when everything around you is freezing. Music can bring together different relationships, different viewpoints, different people. It's always been a unifying factor in my life, and I'm so grateful that we get to share it tonight with all of you.
Christmas has always been a big deal in my family. It wasn't just another holiday. It was the one time a year where my entire family could be together. My Grandpa Myron made Christmas so special. My entire family would pile into my little grandma and grandpa's house, and there would be songs and speeches and food beyond belief. However, 2 years ago, my grandpa had to be moved up to the Veterans Home at King and was unable to attend our annual Christmas Eve party. But this didn't stop us. 2 days after Christmas, my family and I packed up our Christmas spirit and we went out to King, Wisconsin to spend Christmas with my grandpa. When my Uncle Trent wheeled my grandpa into the room, his eyes lit up and he had the biggest smile on his face. As I walked over there and gave him the biggest hug I could imagine, he looked at me with these amazing big eyes and said, "I love you, Lydia." This will always be a fond memory of my last Christmas with my grandpa.
Hi. So I'm going to tell you guys a story about my childhood. So when I was small, I always wondered why it was Santa Claus who got the chocolate chip cookies on Christmas Eve. Because I've been a good boy all year, and I think just throwing that in with the presents would have been, you know, like a nice little added bonus. So one Christmas Eve, I decided to eat some of Santa's cookies. And yeah, and I went to sleep and I was just thinking about how good they tasted. But then when I woke up the next morning, there was this taste of like, I want to call it guilt, but I didn't completely understand guilt at that age. So I went down to the Christmas tree, looked at my presents, looked at the untouched plate of cookies, and it just hit me that Santa Claus is this amazing person who just brings joy and happiness to all of the little boys and girls in the world, and I ate his refreshments. So I scribbled an apology letter and mailed it off to the North Pole. Later I received a jovial response from the big man in red, and he said that it was fine. He understood that growing boys need to eat, and he was trying to lose weight anyway. So I felt a little bit better. But next year, on Christmas Eve, as I set out a plate of cookies for Santa, I exercised some restraint. And the next morning, when I came down to the Christmas tree, looked at my presents, and looked at the untouched plate of cookies yet again, I found a note on top saying, "You earned them, S."
One tradition that my family has around the time of Christmas is to go and cut down our Christmas tree each year. My brothers and I, being the confident little boys that we were, would insist upon doing the jobs ourselves. We would saw away at the tree as quickly as our little arms could muster. One year in particular, it was my little brother who got the final stroke on the tree. He yelled, "Timber!" triumphantly, only to have the tree take its revenge and fall on top of him. I couldn't help but laugh at the sight of him laying sprawled beneath the tree. He looked like a little bug. And for the rest of the day, he couldn't remove the smell of pine from it, no matter what he did.
Every year, I get the privilege of going to my grandparents' house for Christmas Eve. It's very special, and I think their house is very magical around the Christmas time. And it's wonderful because my family, we all get together, and we have this great sense of belonging and knowing that this is where we're supposed to be. I think I realized at a young age that what I really enjoyed was not getting presents and eating really good food, but what I loved was being able to come together as a family and be one. I think it really taught me to value my family, and it also taught me that never to spend a moment being unhappy because it's a moment wasted. And I think maybe even above all, it taught me that no matter how rough we think things are, how bad we might think we have it, there are always people in our lives who love us and will support us no matter what. I feel very thankful and blessed to have those people in my life.
My family and I pride ourselves in getting a real Christmas tree every year. It does not matter that having it caused our family cat to climb in it, knock it over, and destroy precious family heirlooms. Nor does it matter that each year we nearly break the front door off getting it into the house, as thousands of needles fall all over the floor. Each year we go to a tree farm in search of the perfect one. Now, there may be some nice trees immediately when we get out of the car that are close by, but we don't want to settle for any tree. We will walk to the back of the tree farm, carefully inspecting each one. Without a doubt, it's always about 7 miles away from the car that we find the one that, is perfect. And at that point, we look it over and say things like, "This is the perfect tree. It'll fit in our living room so well. And most importantly, this is much more sensible than the tree we got last year." My dad saws it down and we drag the tree the 30 miles back to our car, where every year without fail, we are told that we will not be able to safely get the tree home. We know better. We begin the process of tying the tree to every last inch of the car and somehow get ourselves in. The ride home is spent discussing what we will do when, not if, the tree falls off of the car. We get it home and very quickly realize that yes, indeed, we did not scale back. So my dad takes it and trims enough branches off of it to form a second smaller tree. And finally, we're able to fit it into our home. The next part is the best memory of this holiday time, and that is when we are decorating the tree. It's an unexplainable magic that comes from basking in the glow of a fully decorated tree as Christmas music lightly plays in the background. It's a time filled with beauty, love, and wonder as we share precious time together as a family.
Standing at the precipice of manhood and dressed in my full-body Snoopy footy pajamas, zipped to my neck, I was one day away from my 7th birthday. But there was no time to waste with such frivolity. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Christmas morning. The year was 1981. The second installment of the Star Wars saga, The Empire Strikes Back, had lived and become steeped in my soul since its opening a scant year and 1/2 previous, which was approximately a lifetime to this first grader. The time in between was consumed with normal activities like going to school, playing outside, and taking apart plastic Han Solo laser guns with a certain knowledge that a switch could be thrown inside to make it shoot real lasers. Yeah, there was no switch. And the toy was rather broken after that. But the preparations for this day had been immense. There was such anticipation for this morning. Multiple Christmas lists to Santa, utilizing backwards letters, begging, pleading, and this advice from a song that had stayed at the top of the charts for 4 weeks and then inexplicably went away for about a year. There's watching out and not crying and not pouting And the toughest one was being good for goodness sake. Whew. Well, I awoke very early on that Christmas morning, as very few children do. And after summoning my scout team, my brother and sister, we made our way to the living room. Walking down the hallway, my pulse quickened. My heart raced. I turned the corner, and he had been there. Lined up for miles, because I'm certain that my childhood living room stretched on for miles, were enough action figures and spaceships to make any toy company marketing executive sleep well at night. This was the greatest day of my short life. There was Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi and eat your heart out, dads, the Millennium Falcon. That's right. And the X-Wing fighter.
So my memory of home is not really a specific memory, but just kind of a broad topic. And my father sells Christmas lights. So I know Christmas every single day. So, you know, as I was growing up, my mom and dad owned a Christmas shop, and they were open pretty much every single day. So I heard Christmas, I saw Christmas, I was Christmas. And whether it's in the summer and it's 90 degrees out, which is very rare in Wisconsin, it was Christmas. But I never actually felt that true feeling until Christmas Day. And the reason that it felt like that was because of my family. And I think a lot of people share this. And what makes it so special is that everybody's there. And it's, you know, it's hard to get over 20 people, you know, all together and with kids and whatnot. And it's really hard in this age when everybody is busy doing something else. And I think that's why when Rick Kirby commissioned this piece for Muskego High several years ago, he decided to write in this song that we're about to sing, I'm going home to sounds of laughter, to joy and peace. And I think if we really think about it, those are three important things that I think are all that really matter in this season.